The billionaire who stole our land and how karma destroyed him. Alright, so I've been seeing a lot of stories about rich people doing shady things, and it reminded me of something that happened in my village a few years ago. This is the story of Alhaji Bello, a billionaire who thought he could take whatever he wanted and how it all came crashing down on him. I'm from a small village in northern Nigeria. Life wasn't easy, but it was peaceful. We farmed, raised animals, and took care of each other. Then one day, Alhaji Bello showed up, and everything changed. Alhaji Bello came in a convoy of black SUVs. He was dressed in a fancy suit, and he had bodyguards and cameras following him everywhere. He called a meeting in the village square and gave this big speech about how he wanted to develop our community. I will build schools, hospitals, and factories, he said. Everyone will have jobs. Your children will have a better future. It sounded amazing. We were poor, and here was a rich man offering to change our lives. But there was a catch. He wanted our land. Alhaji Bello said he needed the land to build a massive agricultural project. He offered to pay us for it. Some people sold their land right away, but my family refused. Our land wasn't just there to us, it was where my grandparents were buried, where we grew our food, and where we held our ceremonies. Alhaji Bello didn't like that. He started pressuring us. First, he offered more money. When we still said no, things got ugly. The pressure started. One night, a group of men came to our farm and destroyed our crops. They cut down our trees and poisoned our wells so we couldn't get water. A few days later, my brother was attacked by strangers who told him to stop causing trouble. We knew it was Alhaji Bello, but we couldn't prove it. The police didn't care. They were on his side. Eventually, we had no choice. We sold our land for almost nothing and moved to the city. Life there was hard. We lived in a tiny room, and I worked long hours at a factory for little pay. Meanwhile, Alhaji Bello didn't build any schools or hospitals. He just cleared the land and sold the timber. The worst part. He cut down the big baobab tree in the center of the village. That tree was sacred to us. It was where we held meetings, told stories, and connected with our ancestors. When it was gone, it felt like a piece of our soul was gone too. A few years later, strange things started happening to Alhaji Bello. His businesses began to fail. His workers went on strike, and his factories were shut down. Then he got sick. Doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. He just kept getting weaker. People in the village said it was a curse. They said the spirits of the land were angry because of what he had done. I didn't believe in curses before, but after everything that happened, I started to wonder. One day, Alhaji Bello came back to the village. He looked like a ghost of himself, thin, pale, and shaky. He begged for forgiveness, but no one wanted to hear it. He had destroyed too many lives. He even offered to give the land back, but it was too late. The damage was done. To take it to the end. Not long after that, Alhaji Bello died. Some say he died in his mansion, alone and miserable. Others say he went back to the village and died under the stump of the baobab tree. Either way, his money couldn't save him. I returned to the village after hearing the news. The land was starting to heal. Grass was growing where the tree had been, and the air felt clean again. The villagers were rebuilding their lives, slowly but surely. Moral lesson of this story isn't just about Alhaji Bello. It's about greed, power, and the consequences of taking what isn't yours. It's also about resilience. No matter how hard things get, life has a way of balancing itself out. A greedy billionaire took our land and destroyed our village. He thought he could get away with it, but karma caught up with him in the end. Thanks for all the support, everyone. I just wanted to share this story to remind people that money isn't everything. Greed always has consequences.